especially those working at the schools, which are getting ready to start their first day of school next Wednesday. So, real quick, I wanted to go over some of the main points from my conversation with Dr. Mullins this past Wednesday. And again, kudos to Dr. Mullins. I appreciate him giving me a call personally, answered any questions and concerns that I had. I think we're on the phone for over 30 minutes, which, again, knowing the day that superintendent has, that's a lot of time, and I appreciate him doing that for me. So let's just go down the list, and I'm going to review some of the things that we talked about. First of all, needless to say, this is going to both my Facebook personal page, and it's also going to my sports YouTube channel, which is Press Box Overtime. So in case you want to share it, and maybe you know somebody that doesn't have Facebook and they want to watch it, just have them go to YouTube, punch in Press Box Overtime. It's a public channel, and they can watch the video on that. So real quick, just to review, as you know, if the millage increase is approved, it will be for 4 years. And basically, for property owners, you'll be assessed an extra dollar per $1,000 of your property value. So, again, if your home is assessed at $300,000, you're going to pay an extra $300 each year for those 4 years. Again, that's the time frame of the proposal during those 4 years of that tax increase. In talking to Dr. Mullins, they're looking for this to add about $54 million to Brevard Public Schools, of which 80%, like that pie chart that I showed the other day, $40 million will go towards salaries. Again, not just teachers, all staff members, etc. This will all go towards that over those 4 years. Now, before I go any further, just to reiterate, especially those of you all that work in the school district, etc., what I'm going to go over is the information that Dr. Mullins gave me that the school district is going to go to the bargaining table with for their proposal of how to use the extra money if it is approved by the voters in November. So anything that I discuss, again, it has to be negotiated with both the BFT and the 1010, the two unions that they work with. From what Dr. Mullins told me, I believe they did bring up the proposal when they met with the BFT a couple of weeks ago. The BFT, I think, wasn't quite ready to get into those negotiations. So I think he told me they're looking at about the second or third week of September when they're going to get back to the table with BFT. And again, they're also going to review this with 1010. So the items that I'm going to discuss are what the school district is planning to present to both unions as how they want the extra money to be used if it is approved. Dr. Mullins was very adamant that he wants the objective to be, with this $40 million, if approved, to address the salary compression issue that I've been talking about and a lot of you have been talking about, and not an increase across the board. So they're not looking at something where everybody gets a 4% raise, a 5% raise, etc. And actually, they did address this a little bit in what they just approved with negotiations a couple of weeks ago. They're looking at putting it weighted towards the veteran and experienced people, not just teachers, staff members as well. Again, in order to address, because as we all know, and I've talked about it before, and you know this, when you increase the minimum wage or the minimum starting salary for teachers, nobody else gets increased by that same amount. So now we've got teachers that have been in the district for 10 years, maybe making a couple of thousand more than new teachers. So he understands that, and his objective is to, at least through this 4 years, if it gets approved, address that compression a little bit with that. I did also ask him, I told him that I had understood that possibly there's a teacher that I know that maybe is making less than the minimum, but he assured me that is not the case. So anybody out there, you should be making more than a minimum teacher. Because he said, even if for some reason they missed that and didn't address it, state statute says that cannot happen. So there should be nobody out there that's making less than whatever the starting salary is for teachers. So how this is going to work, it's going to be a recurring supplement, not so much a bonus, but, and again, I don't know all the logistics, but basically it's going to be called a recurring supplement that's going to be added on towards what you make. So let me give you an example. And again, this is just an example. And just like Dr. Mullins and I discussed, We don't want to take these numbers and go out there and say, hey, this is going to be. So I'm going to use a number that it cannot be. So that way there's no misunderstanding for anybody watching or share this information. Let's say you're a teacher making $40,000 a year. Again, none of our teachers make 40,000 because the minimum is 47 or 48. So I'm using a number that can't be confused because it's a number that is not legit. So let's say you make $40,000 a year and your recurring supplement, because of wherever you are, because again, it's going to be a little different, there's going to be more weighted towards seasoned teachers and staff members. And he was also adamant, he's not looking for $500 difference, $1,000 difference between, what a couple year teacher is going to get as their recurring supplement and what somebody with 20, 25 years are going to get. He's looking for a big gap. He really wants to use this $40 million, if approved, to address those senior, seasoned, experienced, veteran employees, teachers and staff members during this 4 years. So let's say you're a teacher making $40,000 a year and your recurring supplement, again, I'm just picking out a number. Let's say it's $5,000, just picking out a number to make it easier to understand and comprehend. So for those 4 years, you'll get your $40,000 base pay and you'll get your $5,000 recurring supplement, which means your total income for that year will be $45,000. And you'll get that for the 4 years because, again, this proposal is for 4 years and 4 years only. It ends unless for some reason they bring it back up. We vote on it again, whatever. But right now we're just looking at 4 years. So for those 4 years, you'll make a total of $45,000. Let's say the 4 years is over, it doesn't get reoccurred or doesn't get asked for, whatever. So at those 4 years, you're still sitting at $40,000. Now, unless the district and BFT negotiate a raise in a rate or a salary increase. So then again, that $40,000 will move up, just like it does now with any annual increase that both the school district and the union agree on, or staff member in 1010, et cetera. Let's just say it stays at 40,000. Again, trying to keep the number simple. So you make $40,000 a year, you get a $5,000 recurring supplement, which means those 4 years you make $45,000. Let's say it ends, you go back to 40,000 because now you lose that supplement. The beauty of this is, and this is one thing that's been a question and an issue when teachers or anybody else gets bonuses, this will count towards your FRS retirement. So you go to retire, and as you know, and in case you don't know, and I didn't know this my first few years of teaching, your retirement is not based on your last 5 years of employment. Your retirement is based on your top 5 years. I'll give you an example. I look at the board agendas every 2 weeks, and sometimes I see administrators that step back into the classroom, which is fine. And I used to think, well, wow, that's going to hurt the retirement because now they're making less than they made as a administrator, whatever it was that they did. No, because it's not the last 5 years. It's the top 5 years. So if you've already banked those 5 years, yeah, you want to teach the last couple of years of your retirement. Yeah, you'll make less that year, but at least towards your FRS retirement, it won't affect that. So the beauty of this is when you go to retire, those 4 years that I just talked about, it's going to be based on $45,000 a year, not just $40,000 a year. So again, the beauty of this recurring supplement is it does go towards figuring out your retirement. For those 4 years, it's going to be based on your salary and whatever that recurring supplement is. So that's big. He did also address, because I told him, and I think I mentioned to you all, that I've actually reached out to the DOE and I reached out to the Florida Association of Superintendents about allowing employees that just recently retired to work for the school district for the first year, which we know they can't. I couldn't do it my first year. My second year, I subbed and I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. We've got such a shortage, 9,000 teachers across the state. We've only got 100 openings or so. Surrounding counties have 300. We have a plethora of individuals that would love to go back and help, whether it's teachers, cafeteria, bus drivers, whatever, that can't do it. I did get a response back from the Association of Superintendents. I appreciate them doing that they've discussed it. Some odd reason, it's state legislators are just blowing it off. Dr. Mullins actually sits on the board of the Florida Association of Superintendents, and they keep addressing it, and they'll continue to do so. So I just want to let you know that we talked about this. Again, as I mentioned, this is just for 4 years. So after 4 years, that supplement goes away, and then you'll just be making, what you were making or what you're making at that time. But again, the beauty is that it counts towards retirement. So, summary, he is not looking for something across the board, as far as 4%, 5%. He's looking at this $40 million being used heavily towards seasoned veteran employees, teachers, and staff members. He is not for across the board, everybody gets the same percent. And again, as he mentioned, even if BFT comes back with a little something different, but at least if it looks like what they want, maybe dollar here, dollar there, whatever, he's fine with that. But it needs to be in that type of a proposal or process, vehicle, so to speak, that they're looking to present. So that is what he wants. Very passionate about it. I could tell during the half an hour that I talked to him. And he's not going to settle for anything across the board. It needs to be something like I discussed earlier. So again, the two big positives are that, and I might have already gone over this, I'm not sure, but the two biggest positives are more increase for all staff members during those 4 years and heavily weighted towards seasoned veterans and counts towards FRS, which that's all I wanted. I wanted to know what the plan was, and I wanted to make sure that those individuals are taken care of, and that's what he's going after. So with that, I think those are positives. I like that idea. Again, I'm sure more information is going to come out once they negotiate. Again, this all is based on negotiations with the two unions, BFT and 1010, but at least I know what the district is going in and asking for. One thing, though, I still think we haven't addressed, and hopefully this helps you out a little bit, is that a lot of teachers, a lot of my friends have either contacted me personally or commented on my post earlier when I did the pie chart, etc., thanking me, which I appreciate. But more important is that they're not aware of this. I think it behooves, the district to let you know what they're going to the negotiating table, the bargaining table to negotiate. So if you have any questions, reach out to your administrators and say, hey, Mr. Principal, next time you go to a principal's meeting, ask them for the information that I just gave you so that they can share it with you so you know what Brevard Public Schools is looking for. And whether you like it or don't like it, and again, these are for my Brevard Public School people, then let BFT or 1010 know. Say, hey, we like the proposal that we hear Dr. Mullins and the negotiating team is going to put out there. We want you to vote for it. Or no, we don't like it and you think it should be something different. Let them know. Again, BFT represents you. I don't know how many of you they're talking to, but you need to let them know because this is about you. You need to let them know that, yes, from what we understand, hopefully your administrators will bring something back for some meetings. Again, it needs to come from the district, not just from old retired guys sitting here talking to you. And then you need to let your union know, if you're part of the union, yes, we agree with this. This is what we want. So again, any additional information, reach out to admin, HR, and let your bargaining group know that it's something you like or that you don't like, and tell them what you'd rather have. So I hope the last 13 minutes was useful and informative. Again, I like the idea. I like the process. If it works out this way after negotiations, it is something I can support because it needs to address two things: the salary compression that's occurred and counting towards your retirement. So thanks for watching. I hope it was informative. Again, it will be on my personal Facebook page or my public YouTube channel, Pressbox Overtime, in case you want anybody else that maybe doesn't have Facebook or is not a friend of mine on Facebook. If they want to watch the video, they certainly can do so at any time. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. And again, to all my peeps at Brevard Public Schools, have a great first week, first day of school next Wednesday. And I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend.